How many years of schooling and what type of schooling did you have to go through?
The years of schooling, it requires to be an attorney, you have to go to law school. And in order to be accepted in law school, you have to have a 4-year bachelor degree. So I have a bachelor's degree from Wayne State University, which took me a little more than 4 years to get. And then full-time law school, I went to the Detroit College of Law, and that's full-time is 3 years. You can go on a part-time schedule and take 4 years. So.
What is the expected salary for this job?
Salary-wise, it's really all over the map. There's attorneys that make millions, and there's some attorneys that start off and make probably $30,000 to $40,000. There's county jobs where you can work as a prosecutor, and those have set schedules of what income is, and they range probably starting in the $30,000 to $40,000 range up to $75,000 to $80,000. I've always worked for myself, right from the very beginning.
What are some of the positives of being a lawyer?
One of the biggest positives of being a lawyer is being able to help people. Most times people come to me and they are in trouble or have done something wrong, or they're not normally at their best. And part of my job is to help them to get back to their best. And that's one of the biggest positives, that I get to help people and make their lives better for whatever the bad thing in their life that's happened. So that's one of the positives. Another positive thing is when you actually end up going through a trial and you're fighting for a client and you're fighting for their rights, and when you win, it's really a strong positive. It's really exciting.
What are some of the negatives of being a lawyer?
One of the negatives actually comes from what the positives are. Typically when I have clients that come to me, they're in their worst state. And so I'm not dealing with the people at their best. And so sometimes that's tough to deal with. But that makes the positive that much better when I'm able to help them and get them back into a positive frame for themselves. Another one of the negatives, there's a lot of reading, and if you're not inherently a good reader, you have to learn how to become one. And I had to do that because I'm not inherently a great reader, so I spent a lot of time learning how to read well. Long hours sometimes, like when you're preparing for a trial. Sometimes I work through the night to be prepared, because when you go into trial, you have to be at your best, and you have to know everything about your case, and positives and negatives, everything. So sometimes, and then everything else has to get put aside. So then when your trial's over, then you have to catch up on everything else. That's one of the negatives.
What do you do on an average day of being a lawyer?
On an average day, I do tons of different things. I spend a lot of time on the phone, talking with other attorneys, negotiating, dealing with clients' problems. I generally have to go through email, and a lot of things are filed online nowadays. A lot of the courts are becoming computerized, so you have to know your way around a computer. I spend a lot of time in court, and that's where the phrase hurry up and wait comes from, because judges demand that you get there on time, but they typically have a lot of different cases on any given day, and you may not be first, but if you're not there on time and the court calls you first, then you're in trouble. So I spend a lot of time in court. I'm in court most days for some part of the day. Another part that I do in the office is a lot of drafting documents, whether it's letters, correspondence, trying to negotiate, or preparing court papers, which are called pleadings. And a lot of times legal research has to go into that. Just because you go through law school doesn't mean you know all the law. There's specific areas of law that you may have to argue in a certain brief, so you have to do research for that. So that's some of the stuff I do.
What is some advice you would give to someone interested in becoming a lawyer?
The debate team at your school. And similarly, in law school, they have another program that's similar to debate. It's called Moot Court. and it's where you argue legal principles of law, similar to a debate, but in a legal setting. A couple other things advice-wise. Learn to be a good reader. Learn to be efficient with your time. A lot of wasted time happens when I'm in the office, and I'm only able to make money that I work for myself when I'm actually doing work for my clients. So if I'm sitting around and not being productive, I'm not getting paid. So in order to be paid, you have to learn how to be efficient with your time and be organized.